I am good, boys. Ready to roll. New edition of Buy or Sell brought to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the code NATION, an official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Let's go closer to the top of Frank Seravalli's trade targets board. The headliners, two big new names joined, Robertson and Necas. If you had to buy on one of them getting dealt, which one do you buy on, Frank? Who has the higher likelihood of being moved?
It's a really good question.
Thank you.
I just think the Avs are in such an uncool position. They're right back where they were 1 year ago with Mikko Rantanen, a guy who needs a new deal, who's going to be expensive, that you're probably not really sure that you want to give it to him. And if he goes out and has another north of point per game, you're going to have to give it to him. So, I mean, it certainly makes you wonder if they were to rewind with all the other moves that they made. Is the Rantanen one the one that they shouldn't have? Revisionist history, of course, but league sources have speculated for a couple weeks now that if you were to put a $9 million AAV in front of Necas right now, that he's not signing it. That 9 would wait for another guy who has another 85-point season. It would be. Statistically, it would be. Like, I know I just saw your eyebrow wrinkle, Jay, but it's truth. It's fact. So he believes this guy has a very big self-belief, very confident in his game and what his worth is. If all of those things, and a big if, this is league speculation. If those things are true, if you're the Avs, don't you have to trade him? Don't you have to go, look, like I can't afford to find out the hard way, and I don't really want to pay him. I'm not jamming up my cap with $9.5 or $10 million in Marty Necas. I'm moving on.
That'd be crazy. Greg's buy or sell, Robertson or Necas?
Well, I guess if I have to buy, I would buy Robertson, only because I think there's going to if I'm going to be acquiring one of them, I'm acquiring Robertson all day long, right? You know, Necas has had a 28, 27 goal season. It's good. I know he had the year last year. My issue with Necas is in the playoffs. And Necas in the playoffs has 35 points in 66 games. And, you know, you look at even in the last 3 years, so if you want to say he's a little bit older of a player, he has 21 points in 33 games. Okay numbers, but not $9 million plus numbers for me. So I would go with Robertson.
Next one I got for you, closer to the bottom of Frank's list, but an interesting situation nonetheless. Buy or sell on Leafs actually trading Mitch Marner's UFA rights, Greg's?
Well, if you get down to it here in the final week, right, and June 26th, and you're like, guess what? Marner's not signing here. A team wants to give me a third or whatever the number is. I would do it. Like, why not? If I'm not going to get him, then I would do it. Because by that, you're the only team that's been able to negotiate with him. You should know by June 26th or 7th if you're going to sign Mitch Marner. And if not, I know it's only a third, but a third still is a chance. Maybe a third, something as part of a package later on. I'd much rather get a third than nothing, because it's better than nothing. So I'm gonna buy that, yes, because I think there'll be some teams who want to get Marner and would be willing to take a risk to say, I'll give up a third, and if I sign him, maybe it changes to a second or whatever the number is. Just so I get, a 48-hour, 72-hour window to negotiate exclusively. Some teams might think it's worth it because there's going to be a lot of teams after him. And I think a lot of teams will be trying to be aggressive.
Okay, so I'll buy, but it's a more nuanced view than yours, Jay. No team is giving up anything unless they have a deal or a deal that's ready to be worked out, and they can add what's in it for them. Yeah, it's the window to jump the market for sure, but it's to get the 8th year as well, to potentially suppress the AAV. That's what really is the value for that team.
But can they get the 8th year anyway? I thought you had to be on the.
No, you have to sign and trade, so that they'd have. That's what's
Toronto would have to sign them. Okay.
And I think it would be a 2nd round pick anyway. Would be the cost to do that business. The Leafs aren't in the business of helping out Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner isn't in the business of helping out the Leafs. And the Leafs certainly aren't in the business of helping out another team. So unless everyone's priorities align together, which I do think a real possibility exists for that to happen, that short of that, I'd be surprised if anyone's willing to give up even a 3rd round pick just to purely jump the market.
Because see, if I'm a team, honestly, the reason I looked at it my way, if I'm the team, I'd rather sign Marner to years than 8 years, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, if it helps you get the player, obviously change calculation or maybe brings the AAV down or whatever. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying too, Greg. Last one, let's go to Bet365's futures tab for this Stanley Cup Final. I'm going to give you guys 2 options here because they're both pretty juicy. This Stanley Cup Final to go over 6.5, so get to a 7th game, is plus 160. This series to end in 5 games is plus 265. If you had to buy on one, I'm not letting you say it's ending in 6. Would you buy on this thing going 7, or would you buy on this thing ending in 5? Frank, which one's more likely?
7. I said before, I think this series is going the and I would bet on. I don't bet, but I would bet on Connor McDavid having a multi-point night. I would even bet on Connor McDavid having a 3-point night in 4.
Greg's buy or sell is this. Would you pick 7 or 5?
yeah, I would pick 7. The Oilers losing 4 in a row would be awful for them and be a little surprising. Like the first 2 games were really close. Game 3 was just a duster for Edmonton right from the get-go. I don't think they'll be that bad again. So I don't think they're going to lose 2 more in a row. Like if they lose game 4, which is very possible, I think they could probably find a way to win game 5 on home ice.
All right, there you go, boys. That is a wrap on this week's edition of Buy or Sell, brought to you by Bet365.